What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to JellyGoonTv. Welcome back to my beautiful JellyGoon squad and the new viewers that check this video out. Of course, today we have a different video, but before I get to that, I want to say that there is a Discord and a Reddit. So the Discord, we have many roles, we have a lot of things. I check into you guys, so if you want to chat with me, go over there, join the Discord, have some fun with the people who's over there. And on Reddit, we post memes, so if you have some memes that you want to post, you can post it over there. But yeah, that's just what I want to say. Now, warning, this video might offend some black people, and I totally understand why. If you look at the title and the YouTube, of course, and I'm so sorry of that, but as I say, I'm a YouTuber who want to learn about history, who want to learn about the right things, the wrong things, everything. So yeah, I'm really interested in culture, why it is like it is. So I'm sorry to black people if you get offended by this video. I'm really sorry. As a white person, I'm reacting to this, of course, but I think it's very important that we learn the basic stuff and we learn the most important stuff, right? So yeah, there's some history we can't shy away from, even though I'm not from America. I'm Danish. We didn't really have anything. The government enslaved us instead, white people. So yeah, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into this one. How a 1921 mob destroyed America's richest black neighborhood. Now, in the past, you have maybe heard that black people was not welcome in America. There was a lot of problems with slavery, a lot of things like that. But nowadays, black people, they do much better for themselves. But I'm kind of shocked by this. Not really, but, you know, yeah. I don't know what to say about it because I'm really not black. But I just want to react to this video just to show respect to these guys who actually work so hard just to keep it straight up. But yeah, there was a white mob that destroyed everything. But let's get into it and see what it's about. So viewer discretion is advised. If you are getting offended or you do like that, don't watch this. But yeah, let's go.
In 1921, a mob of 10,000 whites descended on the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, then the richest black neighborhood in the entire United States. Hundreds of black residents were murdered in what became the deadliest massacre on American soil since the Civil War. The Tulsa Massacre is one of the most tragic and disturbing incidents of racial violence in U.S. history, yet it's rarely mentioned in the history books. Today, we're going to take a look at how a racist mob destroyed America's richest black neighborhood. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History
Go over and
channel
check the link down below. He makes great videos, seriously. They do.
You would like to hear more about. Now, we're going back 100 years to Oklahoma. An early 20th century oil boom drew people to Oklahoma. By 1920, the population of Tulsa was over 100,000 and growing, with many of the new residents being black. Existing racial tensions were escalating, and whites who were concerned about having to let black people into their neighborhoods for the first time didn't exactly roll out the welcome wagon. Instead, they sprang into action, and in August of 1916, the city passed a residential segregation ordinance. The new law, once enacted, prevented blacks from living on any block where 75% of the other residents were white. Black citizens would have to look for a home elsewhere. The black district of Tulsa was called Greenwood. Despite legal segregation, the neighborhood and its population thrived.
Let me pause here, man. I just want to say one thing, man. This is so disrespectful, but the mentality back then was very different because you have to understand now. I know people are gonna find this offensive so much, and I'm sorry about that. I really am not trying to step everybody over. I'm just trying to talk about it like a grown-up, and like we need to talk about it because it's a real thing. And it's still happening today. Black people get discriminated, of course, I'm not denying that whatsoever. But, not about it, but that, but like, this is just fucked up. Imagine, but I think it stems in that white people are afraid of black people because they are not the same color or whatever you're gonna say. Now, my saying is, and you're probably gonna say that's a typical white guy, but I say there's only one race, and that's the human race. Otherwise, it's different cultures, it's different things. And I think what white people back then in America was afraid of was the new people that come from other countries taking over. Because white people are used to be on top, if you know what I mean, right? It's nothing new. Wow, explode, whoa, I know. But I think they're afraid of the culture, the way that the Africans look. And I know it's disrespectful, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But we're talking about history. We're not talking about my opinion or anything like that. I'm just saying it's because the African Americans, they look different. They were black. They had different culture, different music, different vibe when they was together because it's different cultures. That's why. It's not that hard to believe. But back then, you were very narrow-minded. that means that you are very closed-minded. It means you're only focused on you and your white people, fellow white people, because you felt safe with them. When something new came in, like the Indians or something like that, right? People got scared because they didn't know what the culture was bringing. And I think that's my opinion. I hate to say that, but that's just the history, because people nowadays, for example, with Muslims, they afraid of culture. That's all they afraid of. Because we hear about the ISIS, we hear about all the bad things, right? And I think back then, white people, they looked at black people like poor people, savage people, you know? And I hate saying this, man, but that's just how it is, right? But now, thankfully, it changed. There's still racism, but it changed. But I just wanted to say that there's nothing wrong with black people whatsoever. Nothing wrong whatsoever. They have a different culture and they're right to have that. That's what I'm trying to say, man. It's difficult topic because people, they get offended, and I totally get that. And I'm white and I'm sitting talking about it, but I'm just not afraid of talking about it. I just don't want you guys to be pissed at me because I really don't understand that much about black people. You know what I mean? I never really sat down. All I do is listen to hip hop. That's all I do. I did it since I was a kid when I grew up in the ghetto. But my ghetto was multicultural. It was Muslims, blacks, everything, right? And it was in Denmark. It was a different thing because we have different history. We don't have the same as American with black people. That's why we don't have the same thing. So it's different for me. And I'm not trying to smart anybody. I'm just trying to learn. But it's a difficult subject, man. But let's get into it. Let's go.
Greenwood had 2 independent newspapers and was filled with black-owned businesses, including the largest black-owned hotel in the country. Booker T. Washington was so impressed with Greenwood, he called it the Negro Wall Street.
There's nothing bad in that, man. Nothing bad in that.
It all started on May 30th, 1921, when a 19-year-old shoeshiner named Dick Rowland entered the Drexel Building, an office located at 319 South Main Street in Tulsa. He needed to use a public bathroom, but because he was black, segregation laws restricted him to using facilities located.
Let me pause here. And that's why it's such a still heated topic, because in the 60s, 50s, 60s, there were still black and white toilets in Texas or something like that, right? Imagine that shit, man. Just put yourself, as a white person, I couldn't really imagine it because I didn't live back then, and I never really experienced, I did experience racism because I have a lot of black friends. I have a lot, like I used to, but I grow up and they chose like different paths and we grew from each other. That's why. But I remember that I never really thought about racism because I was a part of their, not culture, but I was their friends. Like I saw them as friends. I didn't see no skin color or anything. And I know it sounds typical, but I didn't. Because we were homies. We were riding together. That's all we did. But I saw some white people looking different, like, what the hell? What? You know, and it's so hard, man. But I cannot just speak for everybody, but I'm just saying, man, it's not that long ago, and that's why people are still pissed, and I totally understand it. I get it. But just don't blame me, because I can't do anything. Of course I could do something. I already do it. I treat everybody equally. I treat everybody with respect as long as they show me respect. That's my motto. I don't care where you're from, what color you are, whatever you are. I don't give a fuck. That's why. But this is just... It's messed up, man. Messed up. Let's go.
Located at the top of the building. Getting there required taking the elevator, and that's where Dick encountered the elevator operator, a 17-year-old white woman named Sarah Page. Whether or not Dick Rowland and Sarah Page knew each other is a matter of debate. What happened in the elevator that day is also unknown. An article in the Tulsa Tribune reported that Rowland attacked Page, scratching her hands and face and tearing her clothes. Conversely, author Mary Parrish, writing less than a year after the events, reported that the black man had merely stepped on the girl's shoes by accident. What is known is that a clerk in a nearby department store heard what he thought was a woman screaming. He went to investigate and saw a young black man run.
Of course he's running.
Then he found Page in the elevator.
Let me pause here. Of course he's running. Look, there's some fucked up girls out there, but of course he was running if he didn't do anything. I don't know. I was not in the situation. I have no idea. I'm not saying that because it's black or white. I'm just saying that. I don't know the person. I have no idea what his intention was. But back then, it's hard to believe that he actually did something. Really hard to believe. Really hard to believe. But if it was me, of course I'd run away because I didn't do anything. I would just want to get away from the situation. And especially if I'm black in a white neighborhood and there's racism everywhere, of course I'll run away. Hell, motherfucking yeah. God damn, what you talking about? I'm going to get killed for that shit. Hell nah. Nah. I understand this guy, man. Let's go.
She was said to be in a state of distress, so the clerk concluded she
I don't
had been
believe that.
attacked and reported as much to the police. The contents of Sarah Page's statements to the police have been lost, but she did decline pressing charges, and no manhunt was conducted. Rowland, however, knew that the mere accusation of attacking a white woman could make him the target of an angry white mob. He fled to his mother's house in Greenwood. Rowland was located by police and arrested shortly thereafter. The white-owned Tulsa Tribune, known for its sensationalist takes, broke the story in their afternoon edition with the incendiary headline, "Nab Negro for attacking girl in an elevator." Rumors that Rowland would be lynched spread like wildfire, and by 7:30 p.m. on May 31st, hundreds of white residents had gathered outside the courthouse. Only a year earlier, a small mob lynched a white murder suspect named Roy Belton, and the newly elected local sheriff, Willard M. McCullough, was looking to avoid a similar incident. At approximately 8:30 p.m., 3 white men entered the courthouse and demanded Rowland be handed over to them. McCullough refused and sent the men back out. By 9:30 p.m., the crowd had swelled to thousands. The sheriff was vastly outnumbered. It was about this time that a group of 50 to 60 armed black citizens arrived to support the sheriff. He turned down their offer, but their arrival had prompted many of the white citizens to head home for their own guns. Some even attempted to steal arms from a nearby National Guard armory. At 10 p.m., a second group of armed black citizens arrived to support the sheriff, but were turned away as well. As they were leaving the courthouse, a white man approached a black war veteran, calling him a racial slur, and tried to take his gun. A shot rang out, and then all hell broke loose. Both sides began to fire, but the small group of black citizens was outnumbered 20 to 1, and they retreated towards Greenwood. The gunfight followed them the whole way, and the whites used it as an excuse to massacre innocent black citizens. One unarmed black man was even chased into a theater and murdered on the stage. Calling the incident a Negro uprising, the local police deputized almost 500 white men, many of whom had been members of the lynch mob that had created the whole situation in the first place. The new deputies were instructed to arm themselves and were then ordered to shoot blacks in the streets. Meanwhile, a white mob headed for Greenwood. The mob descended on Greenwood with a fury, burning houses and businesses. By the morning of June 1st, the mob had grown to approximately 10,000 white citizens. They poured into the district, looting, destroying, and...
Let me pause here. And what is happening right now, right? Unbelievable, man. White people could do the same shit as black people. I'm just saying, there's no difference. It's about culture. We all people. Let's go.
Murdering black residents by the hundreds. Other armed whites were breaking into black homes and arresting the residents. Any who dared resist would be immediately killed. Buck Colbert Franklin, a Tulsa resident and lawyer, was a witness to the destruction of Greenwood. He recalled hearing something that sounded like hail falling on the roof of his office building. He looked out the window and saw a hotel on fire. It was burning.
What is happening now,
down.
right?
Then he noticed a second building,
now
and then a third,
reversed.
then others, all burning from the top down. As he stood and watched, he noticed planes circling overhead, maybe a dozen or more in number. Through a thick cloud of smoke, he could see them drop what he called burning turpentine balls on the tops of various businesses and homes. Immediately, he knew all too well why every burning building first caught from the top. At the same time, other reports hold that white men fired guns from the planes, shooting black residents as they walked along the ground. The planes, as it would turn out, were military biplane trainers from World War I that had lifted off from Curtis Southwest Field, just outside the city. Law enforcement officials subsequently said the planes were protection, but the survivors of the massacre knew better. The mob burned everything. Hotels, restaurants, grocery stores, doctors' offices, pharmacies, a public library, a dozen churches, and over 1,000 private homes. As Franklin watched, he wondered where Tulsa's splendid fire department was, and considered the possibility the city was in league with the racist mob. By the time the sun came up, the National Guard had arrived to restore order.
Yeah, of course.
Instead of targeting the white mob, many of the troops went after the black residents instead. Over 6,000 people were arrested and imprisoned at Convention Hall, and not a single one was white.
I'm sorry, I got nothing to say, man.
On June 1st, 1921, Greenwood was still burning. Thousands of black residents had been imprisoned, hundreds more were dead, and to add insult to injury, the Morning Tulsa Daily World's headline for the day was, "Two Whites Dead in Race Riots." The article claimed that 500 armed whites had heroically held off 1,000 armed blacks. Later in the day, a different headline added fuel to the fire by exclaiming, "Many more whites shot." The black lives that had been lost were completely disregarded by the media, and the stage was set for the grand jury to hang the blame for the whole thing on the people of Greenwood.
What the hell, man?
The Stratford Hotel was the largest business of its kind owned by a black person in the U.S. prior to the Civil Rights era. Stratford's hotel had 54 rooms equipped with luxuries like crystal chandeliers and was worth somewhere in the area of $75,000, which is roughly the equivalent of about $1 million current dollars. Nonetheless, it was destroyed along with the rest of Greenwood during the massacre. In a just world, Stratford would have received restitution for his loss, but 1921 Tulsa was anything but just. Stratford was arrested, along with 69 other men, and charged with inciting the riot that ultimately burned down his own hotel. He would later jump bail and flee the state to avoid being lynched.
I can understand
Stratford
that.
went on to be a lawyer in Chicago and never returned to Oklahoma. He was finally cleared of the charges against him in 1996, 60 years
Yeah, they paid no
after he
price.
passed
There was
away.
no...
By the time it was all over, the neighborhood once known as the Black Wall Street was uninhabitable. Black
course
businessmen and
they did.
homeowners were denied relief by the courts, and their insurance companies refused to cover the damage.
fucking bullshit.
Dick Rowland was never charged in connection with the incident in the elevator. He eventually left Tulsa and never returned. Looking back, many speculate that the alleged attack on Sarah Page was merely a pretext for Tulsa's white residents to destroy a successful black community they had always hated. The massacre became a celebrated event in some quarters. Postcards commemorating the violence and destruction even circulated among some white collectors. As Paul Gardulo, a curator at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, points out, the truth of the matter has to do with the threat that black power, black economic power, black cultural power, black success posed to individuals and the whole system of white supremacy. In 2001, an investigation held the city partly responsible for the Greenwood massacre, finding that the police themselves were actively involved in the mob violence. The city of Tulsa was ordered to pay reparations to the survivors of the massacre and their descendants. As of 2020, they have still not been paid. So what do you think? Will justice ever be served? Let us know in the comments below.
Nothing was okay with that. None whatsoever. There's no justifying, nothing. There's no but. That was the most horrific shit I ever seen. Imagine doing that shit and just being in the middle of that and know that everybody hate who you be just because of your color and how you look, right? That must be the most horrific fucking shit ever. Like the most horrible shit in the world. You must feel so depressed, but imagine the people who just clean up and move on, right? They just clean up, move on. Gotta work on. Gotta get that money. Ain't got time to be mad. We ain't got time for that. We gotta make something of ourselves. Man. Rest in peace to everybody who lost their life, man. I really do mean that a lot. This is sickening, man. It is the most... I never heard of this. I gotta be 100% clear. And I don't know why they don't teach this in history book in different countries and all that. Because I feel like it's very important to see that it's not only the Jews who got ridiculed and all this shit, that also Negroes, black people. I'm sorry, sorry. But they also got like discriminated against, right? That's horrible shit, man. That's horrible. I don't know what to say. To be frank, I don't know what to say. I have no idea, really. I'm just horrified that this actually happened and you haven't even heard about it, right? Nobody is telling this story or nothing. You never hear that. You only hear like people complain about nowadays, but they never say that, you know, back in the days it was actually worse than I have it right now. You know what I mean? That's not an excuse, of course. There's still racism and everything. Of course there is. There's still discrimination, of course. I'm not stupid. I know there is. But I just have to say, black people, stay strong, man. Stay strong. We some good white folks out here, and I'm not saying that like in a superior way or whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying, man, there's some people out here with hearts. They're still racist, but apparently they got lost in a bunch. That's 100% true. Now, I know you hear all the news and you hear all the videos and see all the racist stuff that goes on, but it's so easy just to see 5 videos and think that that's the world, right? That's the easiest part. But keep fighting, man. This is horrible. It's definitely the most horrible shit I've ever seen. Imagine taking homes, taking businesses because you think you're above somebody. Because you don't like them. Unfucking believable, man. But yeah. Anyway, I don't even want to say this next thing I'm gonna say, but you know what? If you like this video, you're probably not gonna like this video. Please hit the like button down below. It's more to, you know, I know it's disrespectful. I'm sorry about that, but it's more to, you know, paint a picture that everybody who likes this video, please, do you despise this? You hate this? If you like the video, do that. If not, go somewhere else, man. Pay some respect. Wow. This is horrific. But anyway, guys and girls, if you want to support this channel, I know it's kind of sad right now, kind of depressed, but if you want to support this channel, we almost at 5,000 subscribers. It'd be massively appreciated if you would subscribe and hit that notification button, of course, for more entertaining videos. Not entertaining on other people's behalf, but entertaining culture, history, thing that I'm reacting to. Please subscribe to the channel. Be massively appreciated. So yeah. Anyway, guys and girls, I'm going to send my prayers out to everybody who's struggling right now. I don't care who you are. Stay strong. And yeah, I'm going to see you into the next one. Peace.